Mabuhay, aloha. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you from eTurbo News and the Breaking News Show, this time from Manila, Philippines, and from College Station, Texas. It's a beautiful day here in the Philippines today, nice and sunny and very warm. And Peter, how's everything in College Station?
Well, it's a beautiful night here in College Station. We have dark skies, which is very typical of the night, but we do have a pretty moon. And we had a beautiful day, and we're expecting a nice, warm, and pretty day tomorrow with blue skies and nice white puffy clouds that'll be floating in the sky, which will make the place look even prettier. So I'm expecting we're going to have a nice night, and we're going to have an even better day tomorrow.
It looks like here in the Philippines, everyone is getting ready for the upcoming election. There's a lot of campaigning, a lot of colorful T-shirts, telling people where you stand politically. But I also see a lot of guys with machine guns running around here in front of my hotel, what makes it a little bit scary. But it looks like it's everything around looks kind of peaceful. So let's hope it stays like this.
Well, of course, the way things look and the way things are often very different. There's lots going on in the world, though. Certainly, today in the United States, we did have some bad news for our economy. The economy shrunk. Instead of growing, it actually decreased. And when you compare that with the major inflation rate, which is taking place in this country and in Europe, that's got to have bad news for the tourism industry, because people don't spend a lot of money on tourism if they're afraid that they're going to need the money for food or for transportation or for basics. And one of the I think issues the tourism industry is going to have to face is the fact that we are seeing more and more the potential shrinking of the middle class. And the middle class is really the heart of tourism. So if the cost of, especially of diesel fuel, continues to rise, you're going to see people really needing to spend a lot more money on their basic food and air conditioning in the summer or in the winter. Of course, we saw also in Europe and Germany now back down because the Russians decided to cut off oil to Poland and to Bulgaria, two countries which don't have major pipelines. But this has really scared the Germans radically. And the Germans are really afraid that if the Russians cut off oil to them, this could cause a major summer crisis all across Europe as far as vacations, travel. And of course, people are they need energy. Without energy, you're stuck. You can't move anyplace. So these are going to be real challenges. This could be really the summer of discontent. And this could be a very difficult summer. Hopefully not, but there's the potential for it to be.
And don't forget, Peter, I just saw a report just minutes ago in the National Geographic about expecting that marine life, as we know today, will pretty much be completely extinct in 2300. Obviously, you and I won't be here, or none of us will be here to see this, but it's still quite shocking if you think that maybe life on Earth would become impossible in a few hundred years.
Yeah, I don't know if that report, how its total accuracy. That's based on what's called a theory that actually started in the 1890s. I'm sorry, yeah, in the 1890s, based on the assumption that the Earth would be overpopulated by the year 1910, and that the world would start coming to an end. And by the way, they're predicting the end of marine life forever. So, one, I think whenever you see those reports, you have to take them with a little bit of a grain of salt. It's assuming that the world doesn't come together and one does not protect marine life. Two, that often these are miscalculations because they're based on a statistical model, which has tended to be more inaccurate than accurate on the whole. So we'll have to see. Of course, neither you or I will be here to turn to National Geographic in 300 years and say, you guys were wrong. But I think what you're really saying is it's important that we do have good conservation, that we work on ways of protecting the oceans, and that we work on ways of developing new food sources. Um, and that means that part of the problem is, of course, the green energy people. And what they're in many ways doing is they're hurting the environment terribly. And there's a difference between environmentalism and climate change people. The environmentalists and the climate change people don't always agree with each other. And that's something that has to be thought through. There's a lot of confusion about that. The people in climate change really are running a religion. They're not running science. The ecology people are running science. So there's two different sides, but we have seen Malthusian impact, was what it's called in the 19th century, that the earth would not be able to sustain life about 1910. Obviously, it is past 2010, and we are still here. So there were some errors in that analysis.
Yeah, and of course, no one can predict the future, but something is up, and I think we all need to be aware of all these things happening. And I found it quite refreshing yesterday when I saw a Russian cosmonaut shaking hands up with an American astronaut. Because after all, people are friends. We don't need wars. We don't need these type of conflicts. We don't need enemies. And like our common friend Alain Sanganj always said when he was Minister of Tourism from the Seychelles, and he was asked, how come the Seychelles don't have visas for anyone, no matter where you're from? You can be from North Korea or from China or from the US,
Wherever.
can enter the country without a visa. And I said, well, we're friends with everyone, enemies with none. And that's the ideal thing. And of course, only a small island republic can really do it, but
Yes.
it's a good start.
Yes. Well, the problem is that unfortunately there is human selfishness. People have been disagreeing ever since Cain and Abel. And, Cain got jealous of Abel and he killed him. So, Earth was not overpopulated then. There were only 4 people on the earth, and they still couldn't get along. But I think the real issue is, can we begin to think through methodologies that allow for growth, but at the same time allow for ecological protecting of the planet? And that means not doing things that are stupid, doing things that are wise, smart, and are phased in a way that you don't create social unrest and social disasters. And that takes a lot of courage and a lot of thinking. And the tourism industry is right in the part of that because, for example, you have a very famous senator in Hawaii who suggested that nobody be allowed to get on a plane until someone pointed out to her that Hawaii would then be totally cut off. And she said, oh, yeah. And so, people just kind of talk without thinking. And it's really important. Hawaii is famous for having politicians who don't always think. But it's really important. Hawaii cannot afford to say that we're all going to go to Hawaii on a canoe.
It would be a little bit hard. I can agree with
now,
you.
Now, Hawaii really has 3 systems. Either it's going to have to live with fossil fuel for a while, or it's going to have to move everybody to canoe, or you have to take everybody off the Hawaiian Islands and just say, sorry, these islands are now unlivable. Well, I don't think anybody wants a third. I will not go to Hawaii if I have to paddle on a canoe from California.
Why not? It's very healthy.
It would be healthy, but there's nobody to serve me my wonderful meal on the canoe.
No Mai Tais on that trip.
Yes, that's right. You don't have to be totally drunk. So that's a whole nother issue. And I think we're going to have to learn to live with fossil fuels and try to make them as clean and as functional as we can, especially the tourism industry, because there won't be a tourism industry without fossil fuels. That's just a fact. We may like it or not like it, but we got to think it through.
Well, Peter, we have another segment today. We're going to go to Panama, and we're going to hear about Skoll Club International in Panama, and an interesting project. We're going to stay in the environment and in sustainable tourism, about a gentleman who has a tour company that deals with community tourism and involving local resources into a new concept for tourism in Panama. And he's part of our SCOL club in Panama. So we're going to hear from him. And unless there's anything else pressing today,
No, I want to wish you a happy weekend, and I know you're looking forward to coming back to the United States on May 3rd. So
yes,
stay well.
look forward to that. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the Philippine hospitality, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello and good afternoon. Today, we have a very special guest from Panama, Mr. Roberto Baca. And Roberto is involved in an organization I'm also involved. It's called International. And of course, most of you that are in the travel and tourism industry know SCOL. And we're going to do a lot more about SCOL in the next, this year, because we want everyone to know how great of an organization SCOL is and then how timely it is. It's because it's about doing business among friends. SCOL has been around for how many years now, Roberto? Is it not
86 years, actually, yeah, 1934. Yeah.
86 years, and it started in France and in Sweden, I believe.
That's correct.
With a group of people coming together, traveling and having a good time, and it now expanded in clubs. It's kind of, if you look at a Rotary club, it's kind of a similar concept, and it's global, and especially now in the times of crisis and conflicts. SCOL is playing a very important role to keep the peace part of the travel and tourism industry together. So we're very happy to have Roberto with us. He's actually joining us from Panama. And most of you probably know where Panama is. It's in Central America. It's actually very accessible for those that live in the United States, and also in Europe. You have TACA Airline, I believe it's Copa Airlines. Copa Airlines, but it's part of the Star Alliance, and it's a really amazing place to visit. I had the privilege of visiting Panama one time. A lot of culture, a lot of history. Everyone knows the Panama Canal. But Roberto, tell us a little bit more about SCOL, Panama, and what you're doing.
Well, we're pretty much, just following what our president in SCOL International has said that we should do, right? It has the number of new members is one of our goals. And we've been able to actually enhance from 39 we used to have to 47. That's 25% of the new members we have in our membership. And also, well, yes, we are pretty much restructuring our ways of governance in such a way that we have been able to make some promotional changes dealing with social networks. And in fact, we're so proud to be part of the public relations, media, and communications committee with you as well, and Arnetta Cardenas, which is our director for that particular matter. And what can I say? We're pretty much happy, and today that is our happy World SCOL League Day. Well, what can I say? We're just pretty much enthusiastic about the things we can do, not just for Panama, but for all over the world, with all 317 clubs and 12,500 members in 102 countries.
SCOL, yeah, it's an amazing organization, and it's very international and global. SCOL is doing a lot of good things. It's relevant these times, especially when we go through all of this. But tell us a little bit more. I understand you're involved in sustainable tourism projects.
Yes, we're working with sustainable tourism issues in 4 regions in which we divide the country here in Panama: the Occidental region, the Central region, the Canal region, and the Oriental region, which is pretty much close to Colombia, and that's in the Darien province. And that's a particular, pretty much famous region of the country because it has gotten 562,000 hectares in a national park. So that's actually called the lung of Central America, because the national park that is the biggest one in Central America as well. So we got a lot of things to actually do here in Panama, not just the canal, But the canal, the Panama Canal is actually our main tourism attraction. So we're actually trying to make efforts for people to come to Panama, not just to the canal, but to other parts of the country as well, as you already been to the canal yourself.
Yeah, and I know that your Minister of Tourism, who is, I think comes from the hospitality industry, young guy, was in New York just last week. One of our reporters, Dr. Eleanor Garley, attended the event in New York about Panama, and he was talking a lot about community tourism. What is it about community tourism and Panama?
In these 4 regions, you can find some of some communities. In fact, ethnic groups. We have 7 of them in Panama, so you can visit some of them that have some kind of an offer being developed, or that have been already been developed. So the idea is to visit these communities while you're staying in a Marriott hotel, to be able to move to these communities as well, and be able to sense their product, their sustainable tourism products that they have sometimes. So the effort right now is actually to try and use what exists, not to make new products, but to try to visit the hotels we have all over these 4 regions, and to be able to move to these communities as well, and do some activities with them as well. So that's pretty much the idea of moving around Panama, and not just the canal region, which is pretty much what used to be visited before as well. So if you have the hotels in the canal area, you're able to move to any of the other regions in which they are, which we have some other hotels as well. That's the main idea.
Now, when you move to the other region, I know there was some, at least on our editor was quite surprised. They say you can take public transportation, and others say public transportation is really not advisable from the security standpoint, but also from the infrastructure. That means community tourism is about public transportation, or how does this work?
I mean, you can use public transportation. It's not that insecure as well, but if you have the money to actually rent a car, you can use a car to move yourself from one place to another, or in other ways, you can use also a tour operator or a travel agency that can move you around and show you these communities as well. So it's not necessary to actually take public transportation, but if you have to use it, we have really good public transportation with air conditioning units, and also specialized tourism services, transportations that can take the tourists from one place to another. Sure.
Now, how you say use in sustainable tourism, you want community tourism. How is the community benefiting from these activities?
They actually get to have some income, which from an economical point of view is really important. But also they conserve nature, and as well they are showing us their culture, and that gives them a value of the nature that they have, so that they can take care of that, and also take care of their own culture as well, and not experience these transculturational issues that can actually change the way of living and being as well. So it's pretty much about that. And when we talk about sustainability, it's actually being able to manage sustainability in these communities in such a way that we can have people actually looking out towards conservation of the nature, and also conservation of the culture as well. So that's pretty much what the idea is about. Also, transformation in terms of sustainability also includes carbon neutral actions as well. So if you travel, you can actually do certain activities that can actually try to erase the carbon dioxide that you might do to try your traveling. I mean, for instance, if you have certain activities which include reforesting areas or forests, well, that could actually help. And that's the kind of thing that not just in Panama, but also Costa Rica and other countries surrounding Panama are doing as well.
Interesting. And I think, but going back to the community tourism and sustainability, the income locals are getting, what type of income? Are we talking about selling souvenirs, selling food, or what would it be?
Yeah, all of that. Selling food, gastronomic products, also souvenirs, handcrafts, sure. And also, well, you have all these activities that people can do related with culture, dances, with ethnic groups. One of those 7 that we have in Panama, depending on the region. And also mobilize yourself through beautiful sceneries. I mean, in protected areas that we have. We have 126 protected areas in Panama, and 9 of them are capable of receiving tourists and have such a structure that can receive tourists as well.
Wonderful. Well, this is some interesting information. Maybe we should do a little bit more. Maybe also invite your minister and some of the stakeholders from Panama at a future event. We can just talk about Panama alone. Maybe there looks like there's plenty of discussions we could have. I know Panama is getting now more active of becoming also a source destination. In the past, it's your airline did not cooperate that well and didn't allow really stopovers for reasonable rates. And I think this is changing, isn't it?
Yeah, we're trying to change that. I guess there's a lot more that the private sector has to do with developing tourism here in Panama. So that's the main effort that we're trying to make with the SCAL as well. Actually, we have many of our members have very much a big influence in what the private sector has to say about developing tourism. We cannot be romantic. I mean, it's not about taking a person, a tourist, to a community to not have a good experience. If you're not capable of taking a tourist to a community and he's not going or she's not going to have a good experience, don't take them there. Please don't take them there, because tourism is all about the experience. You want to have a good experience. You don't want to go to a community by being romantic and saying we're going to make some money for them and everything, but they're not ready to receive tourists. So that's the point here in Panama. We're trying to actually, with SCAL, to let the tourism ministry to actually the way they should do things and try to take advantage of what we have in each region that is capable of being visited right now, and and what we have to work on to actually make things better for those destinations that have to be or need to be improved.
Well, very interesting, and Roberto, thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully we can hear a lot more, and all the best to you and our friends at SCAL.
Well, as we say here in SCAL, together we are stronger as one. That's what we're doing all over the world. Thank you very much, Jürgen.
Thank you. And you speak Spanish there, right? Is that the native the language in Panama?
Yeah, we speak Spanish in Panama, but we also have a lot of influence from the States. That's why some of us speak English as well. Yeah.
No problem with English. Okay.
No problem with English. That's correct.
All right. Okay. Take care. Okay. Ciao.
Same to you. Same to you.
Thank you. From SCAL, Panama, we're now going to Canada. And I forgot to mention, anyone who wanted to know a little bit more about SCAL, you can find SCAL on the website. Just go to scal.org. It's spelled SKAL.org. You can also, when you're at eTurbo News, click on our partner page, and you also find this blue logo from SCAL, and you can search and you find many articles about SCAL and what they're doing. It's a wonderful organization. I'm very proud to belong to it. And today we're also going to speak, and he's standing by, to Dennis Smith. He is in Winnipeg in Canada. Fantastic city. Anyone of you haven't traveled to Winnipeg, it's the place to go if you like human rights, because there's a human rights museum I visited before, what is quite amazing. And it's if you really like wide open spaces, that's the place to go. And Dennis Smith is the executive director, I believe, for SCAL Canada. Welcome, Dennis.
Well, good morning from Canada.
Tell us a little bit more about you, about SCAL in Canada, and how's everything going?
Well, it's been certainly a challenging last couple of years, but we have a very, very strong core of people in Canada that have been very involved with SCAL. Personally, I've been involved for about 15 years, and I've had the opportunity to travel to about 10 North American conferences, as well as about 6 international conferences. And it's a fantastic organization to make connections worldwide on a business-to-business basis, as well as just social connections. So it's been very, very rewarding for myself personally.
And Skull, how many Skull clubs do you have? Because Skull is built on local clubs. It's really a global organization, but with a strong local flair, because every Skull club kind of works almost independent under one global roof, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We have 15 clubs currently in Canada, and we're continuing to work on trying to develop new clubs. We kind of look for that grassroots approach in terms of even building new clubs, where we have a category of membership called active individuals. So we try and get people locally to join, to form that foundation. We work with them on helping them understand the organization, and then eventually building up so they actually have a club in their area as well.
And I know you guys have been really active. I remember the cruise I went on. It was a Skull annual conference. It went up Halifax and some of the beautiful sites on the Atlantic Ocean, far away from Winnipeg, I guess. But I think you guys from Skull Canada put this all together, and I still remember this was a great event, because Skull is also about fun. It's about partnership. It's about friendship, and it's about business. And so what are your goals for this year? We're all coming out of a pandemic right now and trying to get back to normal.
Well, we started our process last year. We understood that there were going to be a number of members dropping off because of the pandemic and people's businesses suffering. And so we really started to strategize on recovery. And so we started building a plan, and we actually launched a very aggressive plan across Canada. Like we have made funds available to our clubs that they can access. They can also access funds from Skull International, and we can help them develop innovative events to attract people to come and experience Skull. So we've set aside, currently we have about $10,000 Canadian that we've set aside, and we're prepared to invest more. And we're asking the clubs, come up with something creative and innovative that you want to do. But the other part of this is that every organization has champion recruiters. And so we set out a program to actually recognize those people that are the strong recruiters, because they're the ones that help build the organization. So we're actually having a draw at the end of the year for every new member or returning member. The individual or the club has their name entered in a draw, and we're going to be drawing for about $1,500 in Visa gift cards. So we want to recognize people that are helping us grow.
And you're talking about a little bit Young Skull, and Young Skull, it's really the future. Young people are the future of anything, and also the future of Skull, right? Because sometimes Skull has this image of being a club of very seasoned people, because in the past only CEOs, I believe, were able to join the club, and that has all changed a little bit, didn't it?
Absolutely. Your word seasoned is certainly a good one to use.
I belong to that club now, so what can I say?
Don't we all? But that is the challenge of the organization. It does reach the more senior upper management and senior management levels. So by default, you're going to have more mature people. But we have younger people that are buying into their family businesses or taking over new positions. And Young Skull starts at the college or university level, and it also extends into a category of Young Skull professionals, so that you have young people that are just coming into the business, into junior to intermediate level management positions that can become integrated. And that has been very successful with some of the clubs in Canada that have used that tool. So, there's different ways of people getting connected, whether it's as an active individual member or as a Young Skull person. So it's a good resource, and a lot of clubs work very, very closely with their local colleges and universities that have travel and tours and programs to help educate them on what the organization's about.
Well, and so if you had a wish list, what cities in Canada should have a Skull club and don't have one yet?
Well, I could name off about 100 cities. Unfortunately, our capital, Ottawa, it's a very challenging market. We used to have a club there, but we don't. We've tried a couple of times to reestablish it, but it's a very, very challenging market to hold people's attention. We have some maritime provinces that were really, really hit hard with the pandemic, and tourism is like everything in those markets. And we had 2 clubs, and they are currently on hold because they've just lost too many members. So that's kind of a big focus for us to help them recapture those members and then reestablish those clubs. So, I'm hoping over the next couple of years that we'll get back up towards about, 18, 19 clubs and have really good representation from coast to coast.
Wonderful. And one last thing, doing business with friends, what does it mean for you guys in Canada?
Well, we've actually taken a step further. In Canada, we've actually launched a satellite program, which we call Connect the Skull Way. And it's part of our Canadian platform where, well, it's actually available to any member worldwide, but it is driven in Canada primarily. We really see connecting in three key areas. One is on a business-to-business basis. Secondly is on that social network, creating new friends. And thirdly is on the personal travel side, where you can reach out to any club anywhere in the world and ask people for help for, maybe a special arrangements for accommodations or travel information or just local connections. So we drive that as the primary benefits of the organization.
And that's really the nice thing about Skull, because when you travel and there's a Skull club, you can feel like you're at home because you're welcome to attend and to be part of the local scene, and you probably make new friends, right? That's one of the ideas, I believe, behind Skull.
Absolutely, and you're right about that. Like the cruise out of New York that went up to Halifax, we were at an international conference in Australia, and my wife and I planned on staying longer, but we didn't have any plans, and we met some wonderful people in Australia who said, "Come on up, come visit us," and we ended up staying at these wonderful places along the Gold Coast, and it was just all spontaneous connections with people. So it happens that at that level, and you go to these conferences and you meet with people that you met 10 years ago, and it's like you're meeting your best friend. It is that kind of a connection in the organization.
And that's what we need, especially in today's age with war and everything else going on. And Skull has actually, not Skull Canada necessarily, but the Skull clubs in Europe and Romania. We had a session on all these wonderful things they have been doing to help refugees from Ukraine. So it's really a good organization to belong to. And no matter where you are in the world, if you don't have a Skull club, think about forming one. If there is a Skull club in your region, join it. Just go to skull.org, I believe is the website. And you can sign up. And if you have any difficulties, feel free to contact us. I'm a Skull member also, and we'd be happy to help you wherever we can to be part of our community. And it's a lot of fun, I can tell you that. Well, Dennis, thank you very much for joining us. And for everyone else, please stay tuned. We're going to go to Manila, Philippines. And today was the start of the Coffee Festival 2022. What's also a lot of fun. We have just some short scenes from the opening today. And after this, we're going to say goodbye. Aloha, mabuhay. I'm in the Philippines right now. And bonjour. I guess in Winnipeg, they speak English for most part. Good night. Goodbye. And if you wanted to see any of our events, anytime, go to breakingnewsshow.com. It's linked from all our websites. You can watch us again. And this will be repeated over the weekend. So just stay tuned, or if you're on any of our website and you feel like watching us and you don't see the live stream, just click on it anyway. It's going to start over and you can see us again. And also for everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and hopefully the world remains as peaceful as possible. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Aloha.
We are still alert level 1. Cases continually become low, and more importantly, hospitals are not full. And a lot of hospitals have already removed their COVID ward. It's because of your passion and perseverance for this advocate that we are here today, and I congratulate all of you for doing so. You have shown faith in our produce, our farmers, and our consumers, international and local. But Rich, you might be very pressured because, you know, His Excellency was telling me they have the best coffee. So maybe we can compare, but I'm sure that we can find ways on which we can promote each of our coffee beans. May this festival continue to harvest that faith in the coming years. Thank you very much. Stay safe. And please get your boosters if you haven't yet gotten your boosters yet. Maraming salamat po.